Welcome to today's Girl Up, Girl Talk event, focused on celebrating the work of Girl Up Club members in 2021. Our community is full of passionate changemakers that have done extraordinary work on gender equality issues around the world, especially around girls' education and sexual and reproductive health, rights, and justice. For those of you who don't know, my name is Monique Coleman. I am an actress and a global youth advocate, and I've been working with Girl Up for the last 11 years. It has been such an incredible journey watching this organization evolve, watching the girls just become this massive force for change on the planet. Now, before we get started today, I want to have a little bit of housekeeping. If you click on the chat icon on the menu bar at the bottom of your screen, you can chat with your fellow attendees, but we just ask that you please chat responsibly. Now, today we have an incredible lineup of speakers. First, we're going to hear from Girl Up leaders, Saranna and Alex, discussing their efforts in SRHRJ. Their conversation will be followed by club spotlights from Girl Up leaders, Shruti, Areez, Mwansa, and Akshaya. And lastly, we will hear from Ruthabella and Anusha as they discuss their work in girls' education. If you are a Girl Up Club member watching, be sure to check out the December Club Challenge focusing on fundraising skills. And as we near the end of 2021, we ask that you support the work of Girl Up so that we can continue to have important conversations like those you'll hear today and support girl leaders around the world in their work fighting for gender equality. Now, if you're interested in learning more about supporting Girl Up, check out the donate window also on your screen. So today for our first discussion, I'd like to now introduce Saranna from Girl Up HSPVA and Girl Up Teen Advisor, Alex. Please take it away, ladies.
Thank you so much, Monique. I'm super excited to have this conversation today. And with that in mind, Saranna, what is an accomplishment that you and your club have made this year that you are particularly proud of?
Yeah, so over at Girl Up HSPVA, we actually have done a lot of collaborations with different organizations and clubs at our high school to bring more intersectionality into our work. And something big that we did was a collaboration with our sustainability club to talk about sustainable menstrual products and how we can implement those in our sort of daily routines and really keep in mind the issues of menstrual equity and gender equity alongside sustainability and really making like small changes within your everyday life and trying to bring different issues that you care about together. So that was really exciting. And it was probably one of the biggest turnouts that we had all year because it was two clubs together. So I love seeing that. What about you?
Yeah, that's super awesome because I love how it's like it allows people to like make simple changes that really tweak their life, but then all those little simple changes amount to so much, which is super awesome to hear. For our club, I recently switched clubs this year in the sense that I moved schools. But for us, my favorite accomplishment is one that we're kind of in the progress of doing right now, which is an outreach program to our middle school. We talked about what the biggest issues in our district are, and we found that there's just a big taboo around like menstruating and like pretty much like basic female functions of the body. And with that being in mind, we decided that we were going to reach out to the middle school and host a bunch of events like a social media campaign, like a school question box, and just a bunch of like Girl Up, essentially like girl talks and fireside chats that kind of normalize the conversation and give people like a big sister to look up to, or just a safe space to allow for like the normalization of something that has like a big stigma in our community for like no reason. But yeah,
that's amazing. I love that like you're kind of trying to incorporate middle school and from early on, so then when they're older and kind of our age, it's something that they've already had exposure to. So that's really amazing. I'm curious, what motivates you to keep active when there might be setbacks or something that discourages you?
Yeah, it's an awesome question. And I feel like for me, or at least for my club, a big part of it now with our like middle school outreach is remembering that the change isn't just for like us. Like this is a change for forthcoming generations and for lots of people to come. And obviously we're still in the same generation, but it's again that idea of like we're all like a family and we all need to look out for each other and take care of each other to ensure that the movements that we make like allow for issues that we had to encounter to essentially like dissipate for the future generations, so we can build like a more inclusive world. What about you in your organization and stuff like that, especially with a lot of the issues and regulations that's gone on in Texas, like your home state? How do you manage to keep motivated when blockades and barriers come up?
Yeah, you know, especially in Texas, where a lot of recent conversation around sexual and reproductive health and justice has centered, staying motivated has kind of been like looking at the bigger picture and seeing it's not something that's individual, it's activism, and working with organizations like Girl Up is something that's very collective, and you kind of have to draw on the communities that you serve and also the communities of Girl Up members that you're around all the time. And I think being with other Girl Up members is really inspiring, like not just my Girl Up Club, but also sort of the Southeast Texas Coalition, which I'm involved in, and just seeing how passionate everybody is about issues that are very personal to them, because all of these issues are very personal to me, and I'm sure to you as well, because we do this work and it affects us in our daily lives. So kind of using that personal motivation and also seeing that it's a way to make an impact on the world that's lasting and can improve somebody's life. Like even just knowing that one person probably benefited from something that you did, that you spent time and effort on, is really rewarding for me. So that's something that I've always kind of found to be very motivating, and try to remember that all the time, even when there are discouraging moments. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And especially I feel like that grassroots nature of it, like picking issues that are really close to home and like an issue that you just interact with a lot more, makes it a lot more motivating, in my opinion, in the sense that while all of these issues are super important, when you have that personal connection, I feel like it's a lot easier to see the bigger picture and be like, giving up on this fight is not, it's not just giving up on my homework or like giving up on something and putting it off. It's like, I'm giving up on something that's going to continue to affect my community and my people for lots of time to come. So I feel like remembering that and keeping it true to yourself and being like, this is why I started it, and keeping that like mission statement and finding something that's important to you is.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also think it's trying not to focus on too many things at once. I think sometimes in gender equity, it's like there are so many smaller issues within what we're talking about, trying to fight for equality. And I think finding those I almost call them niches, like where you find that your identity and your passions really fit in, kind of prevents getting discouraged overall, because then it's not so overwhelming. Like you're trying to focus on fixing one thing while also keeping in mind like the bigger picture and the structural things and focusing on that. So
yeah, absolutely. I agree. I feel like if you, not in the sense that you bite off more than you can chew, because all these issues are obviously super important and they need addressing. But if you put yourself in a position where you kind of get like a bit of a savior complex and you're like, I'm going to fix this and I'm going to fix this and I'm going to fix this. And I'm also going to do it all in one go. I'm going to make one project that just fixes it all. It's like, there's a reason that these issues have taken so much time to like be fought down, because they're not like a single platform. These are like, we live in a society that has built up all of these pillars that need to be brought down. So when you decide that you're gonna, like, it's hard to know that you can't fix everything in one go, but it's important to know that you can fix something and to find that something, and I feel like concentrate on it.
Yeah, for sure.
And with that being said, is there a moment in your work where you could, I mean, in your advocacy, where you could see the direct impact of your work and the work of Girl Up in your community or on a wider scale?
Yeah, so I think one of the things that was really impactful for me and has stuck with me was when we hosted during kind of the COVID virtual year, when all of our meetings were through like Microsoft Teams or something like that. We brought in a lot of guest speakers and we called it our Women of Color in the Arts kind of panel series, because I go to a performing arts high school, and so arts is like a huge part of what we do every day. And afterwards, I talked to a lot of members, and they were just very inspired and kind of blown away by hearing all of these female artists and their individual stories and the things that inspired them, and the work that they do. And I think making that personal connection with my club members and seeing that like something our Girl Up team had organized had gotten to people in that way was really inspiring, and made me really proud, because it wasn't necessarily a direct impact like service in the way that you see people are getting the products that you're donating, but in the way that like it changed somebody's mind, and it inspired somebody and maybe gave them the tools to, you know, be more passionate in their advocacy or be more passionate in their artwork, and produce things that were going to better the world in some way. And so that kind of impact is really inspiring for me, and I always try to recreate that whenever we're doing something. But of course, also the service aspect of it. We donate a lot of period products every year to different school districts, because period poverty in my school district is actually a huge issue. And so school nurses have reached out to us, and when we give them the products, you know, they tell us this student and this student are really benefiting from this, and they're really grateful. And that's been really motivating for me. So also that kind of goes back to the last question, I guess, those small moments of seeing what impact you made. But what about you? What has been like moments that you've seen your work make an impact and a difference?
So first of all, I agree. I love that, like, it's hard because when you're asked like this kind of broad question, it's hard to pinpoint like one moment. But then when you think back to all your like different organizing, you can remember like specific people you've impacted. And it's like, it's good to know that someone is benefiting, and someone like, you know, on such a personal level, or just anyone at all, really. It's like, it's an awesome feeling. For me, since I've like been in between clubs, it's been like hard to pinpoint, I'd say, one specific thing, at least with my new club. Because I think in general, Girl Up has done so many amazing things this year. Like, despite the challenges of like virtual and everything, the fireside chats, the online summit this year was insane. And just in general, like the scholarships, the boot camps, I feel like so much amazing work has continued to go on. But in my community, I think just seeing that these issues are now being like put on a spotlight and being put in a point where like lots of girls are reaching out to us to join the club, and there's more interest in actually like our club had to just, like, this was a big moment for me, is our club had to switch rooms. Like, we once were in like my English teacher's classroom, and then we got to the point where we had so many members that we got to upgrade to the media center. So I feel like that to me was just a big moment, because it was like there's now conversation happening that wasn't there before. And it's just good to see that maybe that's not a concrete solution or something, but it's good to see that like those first steps are happening, and those are going to catalyze like the ones that are forthcoming, I guess. So
Yeah, like we I think we talk a lot about sort of the individual in advocacy, and knowing that you change somebody's mind enough to get involved with your club, I think is a super amazing thing. And congrats on upgrading to the media room. Like that's amazing.
Yeah, that was our pride and glory when we went to the principal and we were like, we need more space. And it was like, that just proves that now we've created a room and we've created a place for ourselves. So
Yeah,
I love it.
so yeah, another thing that I'm curious about is a lot of girls want to get involved with issues like SRHRJ and period poverty and other issues around gender equality. So what advice would you have for them about getting involved or starting a club?
So in like a really poorly articulated way, I think I would say like, just do it. Like, not to be all like that probably sounds like horrible advice, but in the sense that thinking and overthinking about how you're going to accomplish something can be like really taxing, and it can demotivate you before you even have started what your goal is. So with that in mind, I feel like you need to have like a vision and a mission statement. Like, pick one small issue in your community that bothers you, and then start conversation about it. Find other people that agree with you. They exist. Like, you just need to have the conversation and then see that other people start joining in. And once you have that, you've already unknowingly like taken your first steps, because once you have all this conversation going on and all these perspectives going on, you start to be able to like target your solutions to fix that small problem. And that small problem can lead to many more, many more solutions of small problems. So I feel like as as like annoying as it may sound, I feel like you just have to take the first step, like take the dive and just kind of go for it, because while it's good to have a plan, it's not good to psych yourself out from a goal before you've even undertaken it. What about you? What do you think is your advice?
I 100% agree with you. So I'll just add on my piece, I guess. I think for me, yeah, of course, the hardest part is just taking the initiative to take action in the first place. So once you get over that, it's to surround yourself with people who are also very passionate about what you're passionate about, but not to have everybody be like-minded. So a diverse group of people who all want to accomplish the same thing, but it's kind of this collaboration versus cooperation sort of thing, right? Like you're all trying to reach the same goal and you're all actively working towards it, and you all bring something different. So that makes your advocacy more effective. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like that's the beauty of like the intersectional identity is like you don't have to agree with everyone. You're not going to agree with everyone just based on how your backgrounds have shaped you as a person. But getting to a point where you have an end goal and you can bounce off so many different perspectives to make a solution that actually fits a lot of people, I feel like is so important. So I totally agree. And with that in mind, what's your New Year's resolution for activism and something that you hope to see or hope to accomplish in 2022?
I think right now my club's goal is to definitely focus a lot on getting resources out there for, abortion rights and having access to sexual and reproductive health, especially in Texas and in Houston specifically. So we really want to try and focus on our community's individual needs. What about you?
I agree. I hope that I want to expand on past actions we've taken. So with our middle school outreach, I hope that we can expand that further past just the school that feeds into our high school. And with that in mind, I want to get more, I want to interact more with our region, because I feel like we have done a lot of work specific in just our town, but there's so much work that needs to be done, and there's so many communities that go through the same issues. And I feel like we need to start unifying as a force in our case so that we can make a more lasting solution.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I had such a great time talking to you today, Alex. So thank you so much for this conversation.
Thank you.
We'll head back over to Monique.
Thank you so much, Saranna and Alex, for that discussion. That was really an enlightening conversation. I think the thing that really stuck with me was you can't fix everything, but you can fix something, and to remember why you started. I loved so much that there was this kind of inherent understanding of process and the fact that we can't kind of just attack these issues and think that we're just going to solve them all in one swoop, but we actually have to set really realistic expectations. We have to take that initiative. We have to take that first step when we're not really sure how it's going to turn out. And something so seemingly small and simple can have a massive impact. So, wow, thank you so very much for that conversation. Also, another reminder that if you are a Girl Up Club member just tuning in, that you can find the December Club Challenge focusing on fundraising in the side panel or the document section in this platform. Now, help me to give a warm welcome to Girl Up leaders Areez, Shruti, and Mwansa, and Akshaya, as they share the impactful work that they're doing in their clubs and communities.
Hello everyone, my name is Areez, my pronouns are she, her and hers, and I am from India. I've been involved with the Girl Up campaign as the regional leader for South Asia and also as the founder and president of Girl Up Bhilai. And this journey with the campaign has been transformational for me. As someone who's always aspired to create social tangible change, it indeed is a dream come true. The initiatives our club took in the year 2021 are many. We started with donation drives of sanitary napkins, meal packets, free medical checkups along with workshops on self-defense, digital marketing, etc. But the highlights for the year have to be the two wonderful projects we were able to launch. On the occasion of International Women's Day 2021, we inaugurated a multifaceted project called Feroz. an initiative for women from the underserved and marginalized communities to gain skills and financial independence. The inspiration behind the project was to take a step towards an equal society and give women a platform to grow, learn, and earn. For the past 9 months, we have been working with three wonderful women. One who dreams of becoming an independent woman after divorcing her abusive husband. One who aspires to support her family financially and lead a life of dignity. And one who is a single mother of three. Through our fundraisers, we were able to raise around 1,000 US dollars, through which we availed free tailoring training sessions for these women. Later, we set up a small manufacturing unit of scrunchies, tote bags, etc., where women work to make these beautiful items, which are further marketed by our team members online and locally. I am delighted to announce that we have been successfully able to part-time employ these inspiring women. They put us in awe with their dedication and hard work. And in the coming year, we aspire to employ them full-time and provide more opportunities for growth to many other women from the community. Along with Project Feroz, we have had the opportunity to launch Project Ahilya. The name Ahilya has been inspired by the Indian Princess Ahilya, who pioneered women's education in the country. Under Project Ahilya, our team has published booklets on various academic opportunities such as scholarships, government initiatives, etc., which are available for female students with limited or no access to resources residing in the state of Chhattisgarh in India. As we are approaching a new year, we hope to continue our projects and benefit many more women and young girls and do our bit in providing them with the opportunities they deserve. As a Girl Up Club leader, my resolution for the year 2022 would be to become a more empathetic leader, to become more compassionate and connect more deeply with my wonderful team at Girl Up Bhilai, so that we can together work on solving bigger problems and create a substantial change in the society. Lastly, I would like to take this opportunity to show my gratitude to the Girl Up campaign for giving me this opportunity and filling my life with purpose. Thank you.
My name is Mwansa. I am from Lusaka, Zambia, and I am a co-chair for the current class of Team Advisors of 2021 to 2022. This year, me and my club participated in a number of activities, but one of them included the STEM for Social Good boot camp provided by Girl Up for Africa, where we spoke to four women in STEM that are of African descent, are actively in the field of STEM. They talked about the struggles that they face as women in STEM, as women in scientific or mathematical backgrounds or fields where they have faced a lot of controversy or just a lot of feeling out of place as they're mostly male-dominated fields of jobs and careers and such. As we had the conversations, we learned a lot about how women in STEM face a lot of backlash, a lot of non-believing or seeing them as less than because they're women, and they're just don't feel as welcome because it's, as I said, a male-dominated field. They talked about what careers you could take in STEM, how you can apply yourself, and how being a woman in STEM comes with many a challenge, as well as having a group of women to be beside you and be like your kind of brother or warrior, like your sisters in arms, as you're in a male-dominated field. As an activist, I would love to complete the resolution of participating in more conversations, having more conversations, talking to people, and just having open-minded and well-educated conversations with many people. Having conversations with many people can help me as a STEMist, as a feminist, as an activist, because it allows me to put myself in the shoes of other people who I'd like to help or who I'd like to get educated on and see where we can move forward as allies and as people who want to see more change in the fields that they feel have less representation, have more struggles, and need help in general.
Hi, my name is Akshaya. I'm from India. I'm a Girl Up teen advisor and the founder of Girl Up Janaki, my club at school. An activity, event, or action my club, Girl Up Janaki, conducted this year that I am particularly proud of is our annual debate fundraiser, Janta or Janaki 2021. Janta or Janaki refers to the intersection of the public and our club, and that's what makes it special. This was year 2 of this initiative, and this time around, we raised over Rs 30,000 and donated the amount to CAF India, a not-for-profit organization. We were pleasantly surprised by the number of registrations we received for this event, which exceeded 100. They hailed from India and overseas. Our participants aged 10 to 18 years were divided into the junior and the senior category. And while they engaged in debate, we had student caricaturists displaying their skills. Some of our school alumni were enthusiastic about being associated with this event as adjudicators. In time, I hope to see greater participation, increased international exposure, and of course, a wider variety of topics to be debated. Looking forward, my activist New Year's resolution is to enable myself to grow as an individual and in my desired field of study so that I can work towards helping others better.
Hello, everyone. This is Shruti from Nagpur, India. I am the president of Girl Up Adhikar. An event that we did in 2021 was Project Udan. Udan basically means to fly, and the name was actually inspired by the Girl Up logo. A month before the project, we did an offline fundraiser open mic. Yes, we did get our window when COVID got better to pull off an offline event. And the funds raised in the open mic were used to fund the donation drive, Project Udan. We visited a footpath shala by the Upai Foundation. A footpath shala is basically school, but on the footpath. The idea behind this was that if the street children cannot go to school, then school must reach the street. The kids in these footpath shalas earlier used to beg at the traffic signals and used to do difficult jobs, harmful jobs, and now they spend that time to learn and to create a better life for themselves. So what we did was that we took for them a meal. We took for them some cloth bags, the cloth bags to bring their belongings to and from school. And here's what we added to this. We believe that education is not limited to books. Education includes sports, creativity, art. And to promote this, we took with us paints, fabric paints, and we painted with them. We hand painted with the kids of Footpath Shala on the footpaths, and we actually tried to recreate the handprints on the Girl Up logo. And after an hour of colors, mischief, giggles, we sat down and we sang together. We played music and we danced together, and it was just so wholesome. And I don't know, with all the negativity around COVID, that was actually a refreshing day, a day where we brought out our inner childs with the children and just let go and enjoyed. Coming to serious things, we also distributed slates to promote saving trees. We taught the children on how wasting paper can impact the environment and how just by using slates, they can bring so huge a difference. We also had an interactive session with them, teaching them about gender equality, telling them that tending to the home and hearth is not just the mother's job and earning is not just the father's job, to which we received incredible replies. Boys telling us that they help their mothers and girls telling us that they already earn for their families. The whole endeavor was inspiring. It was actually a privilege check because these children, they work so hard. They have jobs, they help at home, and then they come here to study. And they come here to learn, to actually learn. They absorb all the knowledge around them and they have dreams. We got to know about their ambitions, about how they want to become doctors, police officers, Someone even wanted to become their teacher. And it's just the community that they have created there is so wholesome and so inspiring, so awe-inspiring, because these children, they're working for what they want. They are working relentlessly towards the life that they deserve. And us doing little things, we got them tables, the bed tables, because they do not have a surface to write on the footpaths. We distributed sports equipment like skipping ropes and carom boards. And these projects may be a 1 or 2 day endeavor for us, but for them, it's life changing. My New Year's activist resolution is to become a better version of myself. Because yes, we want to bring about change, and yes, we want to contribute in all of these things. But I want to start with myself. I want to start with changing myself. I want to speak up at all the occasions and places that I earlier didn't. I want to correct myself at all the times that I offended somebody intentionally or unintentionally. I want to expand the horizons of my knowledge. And during this process, I want to take care of myself, take better care of myself, of my mental health. Because once one starts to look after them, once one starts to better themselves, everything else falls into place. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much to Areez, Shruti, Mwansa, and Akshaya for those incredibly inspiring messages. I think the thing I was most struck by was not just the incredible work that is so impactful that they've done in their communities and so forth, but the passion with which they spoke about this work. And I was really proud to just see the emphasis on self-care and mental health. And, you know, I know when I was starting out like 10, 12 years ago, I really didn't understand how easily you can get to that moment of feeling burnt out, and just the power of connecting and having conversations and storytelling. So again, thank you so very much for those messages. And now for our next discussion, I would like to introduce Girl Up Club leaders, Ruthabella of Girl Up Oakville and Anusha of Girl Up Emirates.
Thank you, Monique, for your introduction. I am super, super excited to be here. I'm Ruthie.
And I'm Anusha.
And let's just get right into the fireside chat. So Anusha, my first question for you is, what's an accomplishment that you and your club have made this year that you are particularly proud of?
So I think something that I'm proud of that we've done is we started this virtual thrift store called Manusian, where we tried to promote like sustainable clothing and secondhand books, and all the proceeds that we got, we donated them to like charities. One we've done is like a fund for trans people suffering from COVID in India, and also an endometriosis research center. So I feel like it's something we're doing which is like sort of having a real impact, and it's also promoting like a good message about like sustainability and issues that we're donating to, we're raising awareness for them. So I would say that is like my favorite thing which we've done.
That sounds so cool. I definitely, thrifting in Toronto area where I live has definitely been something that's more popular now. So that's really cool that you're doing something for charity. For my club, Girl Up Oakville, we've hosted quite a few events so far. In the new year, we had like a new season starting in September. And since then, we've hosted a period product drive. And I guess same as you, Anusha, for the period product drive, I was really able to see like the actual difference that we're making with like the physical donations that we received. So that was definitely something that as a club, we were quite proud of hosting. We also hosted a post-secondary information fair to connect youth in our community with different professionals in different areas to explore like different careers, and honestly like careers that may not be like very typical careers that you've heard of. And another event that we actually hosted was a self-defense workshop. It was really cool to actually like hands-on be able to combat gender-based violence with like individual people and teach them like some self-defense moves.
those all sound like such great initiatives, especially the self-defense combat workshop. Like if I was there, I would have definitely attended something like that. So my other question for you is, what motivates you to keep your club active when you have setbacks or something that might discourage you?
Yeah, I think we've definitely over like the past few months experienced different setbacks in Girl Up Oakville, like different, maybe like not many people come to like a certain event or something, but I think in the end, it's really about like, even if you can influence one person or like one or two people come out to the event, it's already like a success. I think that took me and the team at Girl Up Oakville a few different events and like setbacks to really understand that. Like even if there's one or two people who join, they will go and like make a change in their community. Or even if they go and influence one or two people, like the effect will just keep going and it'll definitely be like bigger than you know. So I think like the reassurance I have a lot of the times is, even if it's like one person who's coming, it's still worth it. All the work that we're doing, it's still making a difference. How about you, Anusha?
First of all, I love that mindset. It's like motivating for me to hear as well. Like oftentimes we like get anxious that is this like gonna be interesting? Are people gonna show up? But the thing is, even if you like influence one person, you've really made an impact because they're gonna influence other people as well. So it's like a butterfly effect. I really like that idea. And something that I would say is one of the setbacks we've experienced is that I think something we all know is that when you like work for issues you're passionate about, people, not everyone is gonna take you like as seriously. People are gonna often like treat you like, like look down on you on that and sort of like try to, obstruct stuff. So like I remember this one thing, like recently we had a webinar which actually went quite great, but like in the middle someone joined and they like sort of hacked it. Like I don't know what they did, but like the screen showed up and like this music started playing. Like it was kind of funny honestly, but it was like also terrifying because you were like, how do we like kick him out or like deal with this? But that taught us that we need to be like more careful when we're sharing like our webinar links and stuff. So it like taught us like a lesson about cybersecurity sort of, because usually, and before when we used to have webinars, we just like leave the link in our bio and anyone could join. But now we're like improving our registration process because of that. So we did learn from that, but it was also sort of annoying.
That's actually very funny. It did happen. A similar situation happened in one of our events as well. This seminar workshop that we had, and also like definitely taught us a lesson about cybersecurity. And like even with these small setbacks, the event, like I'm sure like yours was a huge success. So I think definitely it's interesting to see how like these small setbacks, we experience the same thing in this virtual format, even though we're in like different places.
So another question I have for you is that, what would you say, like, is there a moment where you realized the impact that you were making or the impact that the Girl Up community is making? Like, what would be like that main moment for you?
Yeah, I think for me, as I mentioned before, it was the period product drive that we hosted a few months ago. Really like we were able to see like the physical donations of like pads and tampons and reusable menstrual products, and to see that like these physical products would be like donated to people in need who don't have access to menstrual products. I think a lot of the times, like with our other events like webinars or something, the difference you are making and the change that you're making might not feel very tangible, like you mentioned before. But I think for the period product drive, like seeing these physical actual donations and seeing people come together and donate what they can for the menstrual, to like combat menstrual inequity, I think it was a very like at that moment for me, I was really able to see the difference you were making. And as well, like I think for the self-defense workshop, again, it was more like of a tangible change that we're seeing, that like we could equip girls and youth in our community with like self-defense to like protect themselves. Yeah, how about you, Anusha? What was like a moment where you could see the impact of your work?
I really love like all the work that you've done, like experiencing that and like influencing people. That must have been great, and it's like really inspiring for me to hear as well. For us as a club, I would say the most impact we've had sort of is when we called out this. There's this like big news outlet in the UAE, and they were reporting on gender-based violence, but their headline was like sort of sensationalist. Like it was treating the incident as a joke, and like all the comments were like laughing at the woman like who experienced that. So like we talked about how disturbing that was, that they're treat like this is how they're reporting on gender-based violence and the message it sends and how that's going to influence how people take it. So like something we've been covering like is media reporting and biases in that. So like this is something we were passionate about as well. So we sort of like just like in that moment, like as we were conversing, we just like made a post about it, and we called them out and we explained that why it is insensitive and how you could like word it alternatively to like report on it sensitively. And what we saw is that a lot of people were like we got backlash as well, because like it's like a pretty big news outlet, so like people were defending them, but also like a lot of people were saying what we meant, and they were like, yeah, this sort of like trivializes the issue. And what happened is that they did end up taking down the article, so we felt like we made an impact sort of.
That's actually very cool. Yeah, I think that a lot of the times people may think, oh, it's like a big news outlet or something, like there's nothing we can do about it. But I think it's very encouraging, your story, that the action your club took to actually like point it out, call it out, and say that that's not okay. Like to share a story and to share like a story regarding somebody experienced gender-based violence using like more sensitive wording. I think it's very encouraging to see that it does like when you like big news outlets and bigger like institutions aren't like not reachable. I think that's very encouraging to hear. A question I have for you is, a lot of the girls and youth out there want to get involved in activism around gender equality. Do you have any advice for them on how to get involved, or like starting a girl up club?
I would say starting a girl up club is like one of the best ways you can advance gender equality, because it gives you like the opportunity to connect with like-minded girls, and you can like sort of combine your passion and like actually make an impact in like whatever way it means to you, and like like depending on the resources around you, of course. So I would like highly suggest that to someone who's passionate. And for people who are starting new girl up clubs, I would like advise them that reach out to the like other girl up clubs in your region or even like virtually, and ask them for advice and collaborations, because that like helps out a lot. Like you'll learn from them and like how they did their events and like the stuff they're doing, so like it could be inspiring to you, and you could teach them like certain stuff and introduce them to like different viewpoints as well. So like that's something we've done as well, and it's been pretty fun.
Yeah, that's amazing. I definitely agree, like starting your own girl up club, if there's like a local girl club at your school, or like in the town you live in. I think it's just like to go out to an event, see what it's like, and join their club. I think that's like an amazing way. That's how I got involved in Girl Up Oakville. I had a friend who was actually part of the executive team, and I joined as like a member at first. And I was really inspired by all the work they were doing, like the different events they were hosting, and like the meetings we have, and the really interesting and eye-opening conversations we had and discussions, which really like moved me to like be involved more in Girl Up. I think if you for people who like want to do something, there's something like itching them. Maybe it's not specifically gender equality or related to Girl Up, but it's like any issue. I think like just take a moment and think about like what about it doesn't sit right with you, and like I feel like that's where you need to start to do something about it. If it's like I don't know, like starting some sort of club around it at your school, or like educating your friends or yourself about it. Like whatever issue it is that just doesn't sit right with you, I think that's like the most important thing that you could do to like start getting involved in like any type of activism, and like speaking out about things. And there's just like so many needs out there. Like there isn't, I just feel like there's just so many needs out there. You want the like I say this with like kind of a sad thing as well. There won't be any like needs that like you'll ever run out of anything to help, which is kind of sad at the same time. But at the same time, there's so many opportunities for you to just get out there and make a difference that you want to see.
Yeah, I feel like getting involved in like all these causes, it really like encourages you to introspect. I feel like we all face discrimination often, and like it does bother us. Like you said, it's like an itch, but like we can't like word it well, and we sort of like can't fight it then. But once like we start organizing and we hear from other people and we start educating ourselves more, we're able to articulate it when it's wrong and like sort of speak out. So that's something like I've learned like from my club as well, with like people who've had like stronger views on other topics as like than me. So I learned from that and how I can stand up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that you actually like different people have like different knowledges on different topics. I think that's definitely something that I've seen in Girl Up Oakville as well. Like it's really interesting. Like we kind of host an event like for the menstrual product period drive. We also kind of incorporate sustainability, which was something that one of the team members was very passionate about and really cared about. And we kind of incorporate that to also spread awareness around like reusable menstrual products and like the safety of them, and also like the getting donations for these reusable menstrual products. So I think it's very interesting to see how like you can combine different issues and like work towards them together, because I feel like just so many issues are intertwined, like fast fashion, like as you were talking about, like thrifting also like connects to gender inequality, also connects to like sustainability. It's just like, yeah, very interesting to see how they all like intertwine, and how when you solve for one, like you're starting to see like the difference you make towards the others as well.
Yeah, intersectionality is pretty important. What would you say is your activist revolution for, sorry, resolution for 2022?
Well, that's a really good question. I'm basically someone, I don't really make New Year resolutions, like write them down. I just kind of like think about them in my head during the month of December and like hope to achieve it. But I think maybe I'll start writing down my New Year's resolutions. In terms of activism, I think to bring Girl Up Oakville to kind of like a bigger audience, to be able to reach out to more people. Even though I said before, like even if you influence one or two people, like it's still worth it. But I think like if you're able to influence more youth in your community, more like empower more I really want to be able to kind of stretch our reach and outreach to like maybe unreached communities in our within our area. Maybe I know there are like some specific areas where there may not be like clubs like Girl Up Oakville, like a Girl Up club. So I think that's my New Year's resolution, to like reach out to broader communities in our area. What about you, Anusha?
That sounds wonderful. For me, we're sort of start like with our club. We're trying to start an informal sort of journal where we'll be like encouraging girls to do and stuff. So I'm pretty excited about that in the coming year.
That sounds so exciting. A journal. That sounds so awesome. I can't wait to read it.
Thank you. I can't wait to share. It was so lovely to hear from you and your experiences with your clubs and like all the stuff that you've done. It's really like inspiring to hear from fellow changemakers. So thank you.
Yeah. To you as well. Definitely very inspiring and encouraging.
I'm very glad. So we're going to hand it back to Monique now. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Oh man, thank you. That was so inspiring. Today has just been amazing. I feel like there's been so many wonderful points that have been hit on. I just want to bring a few of them back to the forefront. One of them is just having a sustainable approach. I think, looking at this as a long game instead of just kind of focusing on trying to do as much as you can right away, but really having a very sustainable approach. Also connecting with your Girl Up community. That is such a impactful and incredible network that already has done so much. And there are so many times where we are doing things and we think we're the only ones, and there's someone else who might have an approach that might really be beneficial. So just tapping into that. Also remembering that self-care is not selfish, that, you know, everything that we want to do out in the world and that the ways that we want to impact other girls, we have to start with ourselves, and that we can never forget intersectionality and the ways that all of these causes interact, and that wherever we put our focus and emphasis will ultimately have a greater and larger impact. So thank you again to all of our speakers today for your time and your contributions to these really important conversations. And a special thank you to Girl Up supporters. Your support means so much to us and allows us to have meaningful conversations like we did today. And if you're interested in learning more about ways that you can support Girl Up, join our end of year fundraising campaign by checking out the donation section on your screen under resources. Now, please join me in giving a warm welcome to Girl Up Executive Director, Melissa Kilby, to close us out.
Well, thank you, Monique. And thank you so much for hosting us in this conversation today that is really the culmination of such an incredible year. I think it continues to be a challenging year in the world for all of us. But I know that I have been inspired all year by our Girl Up leaders and activists around the world. And this Girl Talk is such an incredible culmination and celebration of the activism of our community and of our movement. Some of the things that stood out to me that I will take as lessons, I love learning from our Girl Up leaders. It is my greatest privilege being a part of this team. It's really thinking about paying it forward. I loved in the early conversation about reaching out to younger girls and younger people, that we all have something to share and to teach. And you can actually pay it forward to people that are older than you too. So, you know, young people who are watching Girl Up, community members, like, don't be afraid to sit down with the adult and tell them how you're thinking about things, give them a new way of thinking, as well as talking to the younger people in your lives. I love that so much. And when times are hard and this pandemic is a slog and virtual everything can be so tiring, that focus on not giving up really resonated for me, you know, remembering why do we do this? Why did we join Girl Up? Why did we decide to do something about whatever injustice or inequality or inequity that we saw? And I will take that with me too. I think we all need those reminders to say, don't give up. There was a reason you started. Keep that reason in your heart and at the forefront, and you can keep carrying on. And there's just so much creativity in the Girl Up community, so many innovative ideas, innovative events, ways that you all bring your individual passions together to intersect them, to really think about how all of these issues layer. I love so much how our community is so focused on celebrating the intersections of these issues that impact us each as humans, because we are all so many things. We all live in a world together that is impacted by a climate crisis. We are female or male or non-binary, and we are all impacted by gender inequality. We are all impacted by injustice and inequity. And so how all of these things come together, I'm so awed and inspired and motivated as I hear all of the creative ways that this community and that you all come together and layer in those personal passions. And one of the other things that jumped out to me, and it's such a great thing to end on with a second year of these Girl Talk events, so many virtual conversations. And I know so many of you are doing that with your clubs. You're having conversations. Conversations don't feel like direct service. They may not raise $1 or change a bill, but conversations are catalysts. And we heard that from our Girl Up community today. And that's what this Girl Talk series has been about for the last 2 years. Catalysts to learn something new, to be inspired by each other, to find a nugget of something that carries us forward. And how can we bring those conversations to other people in our lives? How can we use conversation to build bridges, to reconnect, to try to bring together the wedge of division around the world and in all of the countries that we have Girl Up clubs in? So I'm gonna hold that. Conversations are catalysts, and how important conversations can be to that long game that Monique talked about for change. So I just want to say thank you to all of you Girl Up leaders for your incredible work this year, for an incredibly impactful and inspiring, though challenging 2021. I'm really excited for the new year, another year in our fight for gender equality and equity. And my 2022 activist New Year's resolution is to be laser focused on unlocking significant resources for our global community and making sure that we can be the movement, the force for change that you are all leading us to be. And who are we going to be in 2030? And what is the resources that we need to become that? So that's my New Year's resolution, is to stay laser focused on that task. I again want to thank you for joining. Thank you for joining our Girl Talks all year. We are in the middle of our end of year campaign, as Monique mentioned. Change is coming. You are the change. If you haven't supported us yet, please do. And Girl Up Clubs, don't forget to check out the December Club Challenge. Thank you all so much. I hope you have a happy, healthy, restful end of your year, and we will see you in 2022.